have a conversation about this, but kind of like midway through the week, roughly about, there was a massive drop of some really interesting things, and we get to relive this amazing time that was also kind of a hellish time for many people, and that was the OpenAI drama. So today we're gonna get a bit of a background on the whole situation. I got my guy Suraj over here to like analyze the whole thing because I don't have much time to like read those files, although I'm familiar with a lot of the stuff that's going to be covered in there. Because, well, during the time period where all of the shit happened, which kind of contributed to the files themselves, I was online, literally monitoring the situation with the boys, and it was a real interesting thing. This kind of all leads back to, the nuke. What did Ilya see? If anybody remembers that meme still, it was a funny fucking meme at the time. Everybody's like, hey, what did Ilya see? Or like asking. I still remember when Zora first came out, and everybody's like asking things. I made a question where I said, hey, Zora, generate a realistic video of what Ilya saw. It's like I really wanted to troll these people on that because nobody was really like willing to have a conversation about that because it was a whole bunch of things. I was like, oh wow, the AGI is here, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, fucking getting AGI. This is like way too early. You guys don't even know what AGI is. You can't even define it properly. I don't even think you guys know what ASI is because that's a new definition we're throwing around because we can't even agree on what fucking intelligence is. Because we live in a very interesting time where the likes of merit and anything that defines it are being denied for the sake of politics, which I I kind of have a disdain for. But irrelevance, kind of an irrelevant thing. But funny thing as well, Outa changed his profile picture to something new. We were like working on something. It's pretty nice. So Synthetico, who's the guy who works at our consultancy company, he helped design a nicer situation for him. So he's kind of like shifted his branding a tiny amount to this thing. And we got him a nice background as well. He wanted to use a profile picture look kind of like that. And I saw it and I was like, bro, why does it look so weird and gay? I was like, we need to adjust the coloring a little bit at least. So now he's got a really fire looking thing. So that's pretty nice. Everybody's getting their cosmic updates. Suraj is also going to get a new profile picture soon as well. It's likely going to look very similar to what his actual profile picture looks like right now. It's just that we need to have something that is able to be marketed, right? Like say, for instance, if you want your Suraj merch, if that becomes a thing at any point in time, it has to be something other than whatever that profile picture is, because that profile picture is from a fucking anime. We can't do that shit. That's illegal. We'll breach copyright. You don't want to fucking breach copyright. It's like a fate worse than death in some ways. That and also, of course, an intelligence agency looking at your post and saying that you're cringe. But with that aside, we're gonna cover something that's relatively similar. And yes, the OpenAI files. It kind of starts with a very funny thing, and we're gonna kind of lead into that, which is the drama around her. If anyone remembers that, the drama around her, Scarlett Johansson, and the obvious, well-intended reference that this was towards the movie and Scarlett Johansson, and the violation that was soon then incurred, and the sentiment that it kind of set, the precedent that it set, as well as also the equity thing, which was back then kind of hinted at by Neela Kennedy. And remember that? Where it was like, you make a lot of money, do you? And if he just claims he has no equity, he says, you're going to need a lawyer. You get a lawyer or an agent. I still remember when he was saying that. And boy, was he correct. And this feeds directly into what we're going to be covering today. So Suraj, take it away. He's got a bit of a breakdown. He did a whole analysis thing. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. And by the end of this, I'm pretty sure that all of you are going to agree that Sam Altman is one shady motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows the term scam Altman, but before anyone accuses of being sponsored by Elon, the whole OpenAI files was created with complete editorial independence. So, it has nothing to do with Elon, even though Elon doesn't like Sam Altman, right? Okay, so first things first. The whole Scarlett Johansson thing, it all started in May 2024, right? So this is when OpenAI sort of started demoing their latest model at the time, which was 4.0, and it was incredibly impressive. I'll give them that, right? It sounded just like human voice, and then Sam Altman just posted just one word, her. So what does it mean? Everyone was curious, like, oh wow, 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 what is that? What is that? And then Scarlett Johansson started, threatening to sue OpenAI. There's a reason for it. And then at the same time, their chief scientist, Ilya quits. And a lot of things just happen. and it was simply bad PR for OpenAI. And the company was kind of facing a complete public meltdown in front of the media companies and journalists. A lot of really interesting things happened. And with all that, like they still said their mission was to benefit all of humanity, which was kind of funny. Let's get down to what actually happened with the whole her scandal, right? Um, Sam Altman, he calls Scarlett Johansson, and he wants her voice for ChatGPT because I don't know what reason, but a lot of people seem to like her voice, and she says no, right? But at the same time, what happens was next month, OpenAI team launches 5 voices, including one called Sky, and everyone wondered, oh, what is Sky? Well, it sounded just like Scarlett Johansson. Uh, and this was on May 10th, so 2 days before the whole demo. So Sam Altman's team calls Johansson, and then they were like, hey, do you want to reconsider? Do you want to join? Can we make a deal? And she didn't even respond, but then they started doing the demo with Sky, and immediately what happened was, well, they pulled the voice. Like, okay, so if it's completely legal, why would you do that, right? Like, so Scarlett Johansson said, my closest friends, they couldn't tell a difference. Okay, so it sounded just like her, and then OpenAI team was like, oh, we don't know what that is. We don't know what happened. It seems like a coincidence. But from a legal standpoint, it was completely up to Scarlett Johansson, right? So she had everything in place, and there was also a similar case that happened. I think it's called the Midler v. Ford. So this happened in 1988. So there was this interesting case, and someone sounded just like this person, and then she refused to do the commercial, and apparently she won the case too. So it was crystal clear that Scarlett Johansson, um, I mean, if she just pursued the case, she would win, and OpenAI knows that. And I mean, they would lose millions, if not billions of dollars in reputational damage. So it would be a huge problem for the whole company. So they pulled the voice, and they still didn't really confess that. Okay, so we did use her voice. They never said that. And okay, so let's put all this behind the scenes. What happened to the safety team? So OpenAI said we are going to build AGI with safety in mind, because we are going to build the best AI models in the world with safety in mind. And they started hiring some of the best researchers in the industry, including Ilya. I mean, the reason why I keep talking about Ilya is he's literally like the goat when it comes to AI. He started his own venture called SSI. I think it's called the Super Intelligence Inc., where they actually prioritize safety. And a lot of people came up. I mean, so if you work for OpenAI and if you sign their agreement, you cannot sue them, right? You cannot blow the whistle because you're bound by the agreement. And uh,
Which is
a
technically
lot of,
illegal, because you're not supposed to prevent somebody from, whistleblowing. It's like premeditated like prevention of whistleblowing, and that's actually technically illegal. So that's a little interesting thing that's worked itself into that.
yeah, exactly. And it's I think some people said it might be an SEC violation because the company has to give a ton of equity to their employees, and then, well, the agreement basically said if you go against our interest, we will not give you equity. And this is, we are talking about vested equity, which is like, let's say you sign an agreement with a company and then the stocks vest for maybe 4 or 5 years, and then you're about to finish this period, right? Yeah, they can still withdraw all the equity and give you nothing. So you always have to sort of obey the leadership of OpenAI, and that was a very interesting thing to see. Okay, so what else happened? So we saw people like Ilya come out and say things like, okay, so this is Ilya's words, right? So basically what he said was, I don't think Sam is the guy who should have the finger on the button for AGI. And this is not just Ilya. It was also their ex-CTO, Mira Murati. And she said, I don't feel comfortable about Sam leading us to AGI, which was, I mean, this is not just, some random people saying random things. It was their own team, right? And these were top people in the AI industry. And we also heard certain very interesting things from their competitors. Uh, you know, the Amore. Um, so he was he is still the CEO of Anthropic, right? So he used words like gaslighting and some very interesting. It was out of context, but he did use words like gaslighting. And the people of OpenAI board didn't really feel comfortable working with Sam Altman because he didn't disclose a lot of things that was coming from their security team and also their AI safety team. He repeatedly gave them false information just to push the product to move faster. So and here's the thing: they had these product deadlines, and then he tried to push the safety team to approve everything faster. Uh, I mean, we don't know why, but uh, he just did what he did. And we also know one more thing: he lied to Congress under oath, claiming that he had no equity in OpenAI, right? But what he didn't tell anyone is he held indirect stakes through Sequoia and Y Combinator. And these two companies, they invested in OpenAI, right? So he did have a lot of stake with OpenAI through them. Now he does have direct stake in OpenAI, and we also know about the whole restructuring of the organization. Initially, OpenAI was supported by Elon when it was a non-profit board, and which was it's the 501c3, a US organization, right? So they said it's fully for public benefit. We have nothing to do with profit. We even have caps for profit. And then they also managed to change the caps for profit. And they said, okay, so we might actually remove the cap for the profit. So it's now a profit making company, and they are telling their investors that we will not have any cap for making profit. So
Ridiculous.
they can build whatever they want, which is absolutely crazy, right? Um, okay, so all this happened, and he also started investing in certain very interesting startups, which could be a conflict of interest with OpenAI. So why would you invest in interesting startups which make AI chips? And I think some people know what kind of startups they were. I think one of them being, I think this was the ex-design guy of Apple, right? So that was just one case. And the other thing is, so there is this CEO of Reddit. He had, I think, a lot of stake in OpenAI, and he was part of the OpenAI board. But he was, well, his company, Reddit, and okay, so I think he netted like $50 million when they announced the OpenAI partnership, which was also like super interesting. Um, I don't know. It was all like super shady, and we also had the CEO of Quora, and he was in the OpenAI board, um, and hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear.
you
We can
get
hear.
Yeah.
We're just like listening to your riff. Keep going.
Yeah. Captivating.
Okay. So we had the CEO of Quora. He was part of the OpenAI board, and he was also the customer of OpenAI, which is also a direct conflict of interest. So he was secretly like raising. I mean, he, as in Sam Altman, was secretly raising tens of billions of dollars for his AI chip company. Again, a conflict of interest, as I mentioned earlier. And then there was this independent review which found many instances of him saying different things to different people, which is basically lying. We call it systematic lying, right? But here's the thing: when 745 people out of 770 employees threatened to quit to get back to him, it basically showed that he built some level of loyalty with these people that could even override any oversight, right? So I don't know. It feels like he might be playing a long game, but he seemed to have like some very interesting relationship with his own team. And that's why a lot of people in his very internal circle also quit, right? So what we covered so far is, Scarlett Johansson, the case which happened in May, and they pulled the voice, and the safety team exited. The whole team, well, most of the safety team exited under this leadership. So the whole voice experiment went down the drain, and we had a ton of conflict of interest with the board. We had very interesting people from Reddit and Quora being part of the OpenAI team, and we also saw that there was this interesting agreement they have to sign, like the OpenAI employees have to sign, um, uh, which is kind of an NDA, but also which also makes them not sue OpenAI for some reason, which is, everything worked against employees' interest. So the original cap for so now we are moving to the investments part, right? So the original cap for was 100x investor returns, meaning if you invested like $1, you could make at most of $100, and they are also removing the cap for this. So the nonprofit board was supposed to be this kill switch, and slowly what they are doing is they are trying to dismantle the nonprofit wing of OpenAI. So OpenAI was supposed to be this full public nonprofit wing, and they said, "Oh, we just have this for-profit to kind of fuel this whole mission." Well, everything is sort of changing. So OpenAI also secretly changed their profit cap to increase 20% annually, which could exceed maybe $100 trillion in 40 years, if I'm not wrong. So they never kind of disclosed this change, and they started continuing to take credit for their capped nonprofit structure. I don't know why they do this. Okay, so that was interesting. So their complete structure was kind of a lie, in my opinion. So when the board tried to exercise this oversight in November, so Sam Altman's employee, well, they kind of destroyed the whole idea because they seem to be more loyal to Sam Altman. So the very governance of how they hired and how they governed was kind of very shady, right? Um, and yeah, and then we have Dario Amore, who he was the one who also co-founded OpenAI, by the way. So he co-founded OpenAI um, with Ilya and a couple of others, and he did use these words like gaslighting and psychological abuse, which was very interesting. So and five, I mean, so far what we know is I think five other OpenAI executives they left the OpenAI leadership along with Ilya. So I don't know. The people who built AGI were very terrified because they don't believe in Sam Altman, and OpenAI is supposed to be one of the most powerful AI companies in the world. So they don't really like or support this leadership. So now moving on to a much bigger picture. So what's happening in Silicon Valley is, a lot of people started looking up to OpenAI. Oh, wow, it's such a huge tech company. They are building this technology that's going to revolutionize the whole of internet, just like electricity. Yeah, I think that this was this quote from, I think, Sundar Pichai from Google. So he basically said, "Oh, AI is this huge thing, just like electricity." And then, 52% of Americans. So this was this interesting stats. So 52% of Americans are more concerned than excited about AI. Well, because of stories like this. And I think I also made this privacy assessment on ChatGPT, right? Which basically said, oh, this might just be one of the worst AI apps that we see so far. And a lot of these things are kind of hidden from users because firstly, they make it harder for anyone to understand, which is a problem because they need to be transparent with their users. And they also use these, employees cannot talk about this because they used weaponized NDAs that basically tie their employees, um, you know, it ties them with their vested equity, and millions of dollars is in stake. So they are forced to be silent. And if you blow the whistle, well, you cannot. You are bound by the agreement. So they require their employees to waive the federal right to whistleblow, which is a huge problem. And a lot of, I think, formal employees of SEC also filed complaints against OpenAI. I don't think anyone took it seriously because OpenAI is super influential and they have lot of money, so they probably paid off a lot of people in the whole process. So what are we seeing at this point? So OpenAI sort of started becoming the market leader. We had other AI companies coming up, like Google, Anthropic, Meta, and what they are seeing is, okay, so we have this company, we need to compete with them. They have a ton of models coming in, so it's impossible to avoid what they're doing. So we'll just go with whatever we have so far. And a lot of creators started suing OpenAI because of copyright claims. So when they dissolved their safety team for quote unquote faster shipping, because I don't know, the product team and Sam Altman were probably in good relations and they had to like keep approving, and they fast tracked the whole safety process, which was a huge problem. Um, so what next? So he tried to change the whole governance because the board once tried to fire Sam Altman, but the employees seemed to be more loyal to Sam Altman, and they kind of threatened um, the whole company to leave because I don't know. Sam Altman seemed to hire people who like him for some reason, right? They need to be the best for the job, but he also seemed to hire people who like him and who support him in cases like these. Um, so Sam Altman made a ton of money, by the way, if you guys were wondering, even though if he used to claim that he had no stakes in OpenAI, which was a complete lie. So OpenAI's own leader, they also said something like AGI poses this existential risk to humanity, but Sam Altman said things like, "Oh no, we are doing a lot of good things for humanity with OpenAI," and he also recently said they will be supporting and adding a lot of repos in their open source GitHub. Uh, I don't know how far that is true, but if they do, it's a good thing. It's good for everyone. But I don't know from whatever he says. I don't know if we can trust this guy completely. Um, and a lot of people might think like, okay, are we just echoing Elon's opinion because Elon calls him scam Altman, so we should probably do that? Well, you can just look at openaifiles.org and you'll be like, okay, he is worse than just a scammer because he kind of tricked everyone. And even recently, I saw that he might be going against Microsoft, and Microsoft happens to be one of the big investors in OpenAI. Like, why would you even go against your own investor? Yeah, go ahead, Blythe.
Yeah, no, I just think it's kind of odd, the whole use of like restrictive NDAs to silence, the employees and stuff like that. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a big red flag in my opinion. Hopefully they can figure that
Have a
shit
look
out.
at this thing that I posted not too long ago. It's kind of part of that. So if you want to understand the structure of OpenAI, specifically what it actually is, Microsoft and OpenAI are like the Ouroboros of AI, right? It's like a big fat snake that's just eating itself, like it's eating its own tail. It's a fascinating situation, and it's quite a freaky one at that too. Hang on a second, something's happening. Yo, testing, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
we
looking at
can
the
hear you.
Ouroboros snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, sorry, I had like a glitch here. I clicked on this and somehow just like instantly died. This app needs some major fixes. Yassine!
Yeah, Yassine got fired. Yeah,
Yassine, what's going on? Get him
I wonder why
back!
he got let go. Yeah,
So I had to say that. It's like it's a meme that like whenever something goes wrong, everybody just yells Yassine. Yeah, that's also a little interesting addition on the timeline. But now see like right there, if you can like get an understanding of what OpenAI is and what's going on, it's the Ouroboros of AI. See, it's just a big fucking snake that's eating itself, right? And Microsoft actually has like this is OpenAI is Microsoft's means by which they can stay relevant in terms of AI because they're not building anything, not anything that's actually valuable, right? And so all of these things that are pictured here inside of this like weird snake that you're seeing, all of those things that if you were to delete that, the world would actually improve quite a bit. Because all this shit is currently entirely enslopifying the planet. You know, you got bullshit websites that are being written. You got bullshit automation that is polluting every data set, including that of your very own minds on Earth. And that's also feeding into one of Sam Altman's other companies. If, of course, you haven't caught my, rantings about, like one of my rants about WorldCoin is like, this is literally like the thing that he created based on demand of uncertainty as to who is like really a person on the internet. Like he created the demand for this and then created his own company to meet said demand, right? This is like a really fucking hilarious situation. Well, I'm not necessarily against creating your own market and creating your own demand. I am, however, against solutions like this because you're having a very unethical person trying to orb max, right? I'd rather have Palantir orb maxing than have this guy orb max. You know, we got to stay away from you can orb max as you want, just stay away from this orb specifically because it's really fucking stupid. And thus far, I think about 2 million or so people have signed up for this. And I can personally guarantee you that each and every single one of those are at some level completely fucking retarded. And you can like say, hey, these people are going to be responsible for all our privacy diminishing even more than it has already been diminished, right? Like this is really, really bad. And I don't like this whatsoever. You know, I'm not a person who's against technology. I don't find it a problem whatsoever. However, I do find it a problem when people who really lack the ethics structure to be responsible with technology create technology that then fundamentally takes away any remaining freedoms that we may or may not had.
Exactly.
So I used to be like very anti-regulations, right? Because I truly believe that regulation was a problem for companies to innovate and stuff like that. But if you look at companies who literally were security researchers and AI safety researchers, so you might as well want to have regulations which kind of protect the users and the whole of humanity even, right? Because AGI is a big deal. It is indeed because you're trying to achieve close to human intelligence and you probably want that AI to be on your side. And if you want to do that, well, you don't need AI safety things. So sure, in an ideal world, if you are going to like self-regulate and you have a specific thing for your whole company to govern, okay. I mean, we are trusting the company too much at this point, but I think OpenAI is this great example, uh, which is totally not open and which totally doesn't take AI safety that seriously. So you probably want to have a very strong regulation for companies like OpenAI.
Yeah.
So I mean, I say all this because for public interest. So I'm not saying the companies should not care about profit. I'm not saying that at all. Like as a matter of fact, I hate the commies. uh, so companies like companies like these are important, but at the same time, safety is also super important. Um,
Profit is great. Profit is absolutely amazing. Capitalism is a beautiful thing. But the problem is, once we deviate from a very certain way of doing things, then it's no longer capitalism, and then it becomes this thing that is like the ugly deviant of it that's called crony capitalism, right? This is like in the same general direction that we're going to be heading, because like, hey, that deviation is something that should not be accepted, and otherwise, like a free market's actually quite nice, everything is actually quite good, but these types of things end up ruining everything, right? As you can clearly see. Right. What else? Anything else that we got to cover in regards to this, or is that?
Yeah, there were a couple of other interesting things. So people can also have a look at the testimonials of different employees, which is basically an evidence of everything that we have covered. I mean, there is a lot more to cover, so I can go into the details even. So if you look at what's been happening to that whole structure, I think they also added this very cool visual that you can see. So at this point, it's almost a fully profit making company, and they are trying to dismantle the whole non-profit wing, right? So which is a pretty bad thing. So they have a lot of private investors, so that's kind of interesting. So you might want to have more transparent with companies like this because it's becoming super powerful and it's also becoming super influential. And Sam Altman also has access to the White House, so I don't know what kind of influence he has uh, with the White House and the president. Even we don't know what's going on, but food for thought.
Yes. We have no idea what Bro's going to do next.
Nobody knows.
That's one thing for sure. I wonder how this ties in with everything else to a certain amount.
um
Like, this has got to have some very wicked second order effects. It's also great that we have kind of, I think, due to this report, a independent look at the situation, right? Like, it's nice to have somebody who's independent monitoring it, other than just like us or like Elon bringing attention to it, because it really like would seem as though there would be some sort of bias. And for me, I like don't really have a kind of a technological bias, but I will say that like I will buy whatever technology works the best. That is how it is, and also whatever technology furthers human interests as much as possible. Um, AI as AI itself is kind of a rough topic and kind of a it's an interestingly dangerous and volatile subject to have a conversation about in general, and people don't entirely realize that because of the way that energy works, right? We are devoting quite a large amount of cognitive power, just general power and resources towards creating this type of automated system. And one should really ask, what kind of system do you want there to come out of this? The worst that can happen is that we end up with a system that is similar to what is that book called by Harlan Ellis? I have no mouth, but I must scream. Like we don't want to have that type of situation. We want to have, if you're going to weaponize it, make very simplistic automated systems. But guess what? We've already had those for many, many decades. We're just like improving them with different things. Now, perhaps we could do coordinated drone swarms. Perhaps that's the next thing that could be coming around. But that's about it.
oh
As for like automating massive farms on the internet to guide and steer sentiment, that is another thing that people should be worried about. So it would make sense to have an AI that is, ethically built, kind of take on these roles in the world, than an AI that is built to uphold a very specific type of unrealistic agenda that is more political than factual in nature. I feel like politics as a concept should be removed in their entirety from technology because technology is not politics. Technology is technology. And I think the sooner and the faster we accept this and we uphold that as a standard, then the better everything will get for us because we don't want this. We don't want politics in our technology. All we want is the technology itself. Otherwise, there would be no complaints. If there were no politics around OpenAI, for instance, and it wouldn't take on any of these weird ideations, then everything would be fine and nobody would even bat an eye. If anything, maybe the only people who would bat an eye are the ones who are intensely political, but I can assure you that the majority of all the people don't give the slightest of a fuck about whatever your political positions are, so long as your product works. Like, for instance, me, I don't politically agree with a lot of what Apple does and what it stands for. Yet I still use their technology because their technology is great. Because I don't care about the politics. I'd rather they not do it, but I'm not going to like boycott them because of their politics, right? Even with like OpenAI itself, I've like used a lot of their products for quite a while. It's just that they haven't become as useful for the things that I want to be, using it for, right? Like, what do I actually need? I need an analysis tool for me to look things up. Well, then I got Grok and I can do deep search, right? Do I want to analyze a document? Okay, maybe you want to take OpenAI, but Grok is also becoming exceedingly good exactly this thing, So
Actually,
what
for
exactly is
documents,
Yep.
like
for
what exactly is
Use
documents,
it.
left?
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, for documents, I think Gemini is probably the best. Like if you have like really large documents, Gemini is
Mhm.
probably the best at this point. ChatGPT, I don't know. I don't really use it as much. But I think the image model might be quite interesting, perhaps. But otherwise, that text model,
You're
not.
talking about their visual recognition, right?
No, no, no. So if you can, if you ask it to generate a certain image, like maybe something like anime or something kawaii,
Nah,
ChatGPT is pretty good.
nah. I think like I think even at that on that front, something like you know, Midjourney is probably better. Has better like, in general. Like I think most of the images that you see actually on the internet that are generated are actually either just Grok or it's all just Midjourney. If you see anything that looks obviously AI generated, it's most likely that would be DALL-E, which is I think OpenAI's product. But besides that, I feel like the usefulness of OpenAI as a product that one uses is kind of waning a little bit. I feel like there's still a lot of normies that are parsed into it because one of the powers that OpenAI has is availability, especially availability of its API. So here's an interesting thing where you may have noticed that there's like this huge problem of vibe coding that exists out there in the world, and largely this is also fueled by ChatGPT, right? And they make it very easy for you to do exactly these things. Now, of course, you have cursor, you have all these other things, but you see that's part of the Ouroboros of AI, right? And so that that keeps going, and that keeps people locked into the situation, and we need to like take them out of that. And the only way to do that is to provide a better product, which is quite challenging in today's world because a lot of the data that you'll get today is fundamentally impacted by what AI is. Pure non-AI content is extremely rare to get today. And you will also realize in the future that the thing which will hold the most value is not just AI, it's not just the data on its own, it's a computational data market. That will be the thing that's the most valuable. And ironically enough, your brain and your identity kind of feeds into that more than you could ever begin to imagine. But then again, if you've been reading Suraj's privacy related posts, you will understand that your information is highly monetizable, right? And people are working on computational data markets. They're working on making it so that you can actually profit from your own data as much as these corporations are profiting from that data yourself, that you're effectively signing over. You will never see any money of it, like you'll never see any money out of what you've like put into the internet via these corporations. The closest that I think anyone can ever get to being able to monetize their thoughts is X.com and their monetization system. Where if people find your thoughts valuable and if you put enough time into the platform to actually get a platform of itself, like what I've done here, then you are able to actually profit off of that. And I do profit off of that. I love X.com very much. I won't deny that I profit off of the fact that I can put my ideas here. This is why I do what I do. But I also try to keep myself to a very specific standard. I've been like taking a step away from anything that's political and staying very close to something that's more realistic, more factual, because I just want to kind of hold myself to that standard so that I can prove that you do not need to be political in order to succeed or in order to get this type of monetary reward effectively for the thoughts that you have, because your thoughts can actually be quite cool and quite abstract if people are smart enough to actually care about them, which I believe that my audience really is.
Indeed, indeed.
Did he rug or did?
It looks like he cut out there a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I think
you're
like my audio thing like kind of went out. I took my earphones. I accidentally washed them, so that's a problem. So that's caused some cable issues. How's my voice? Is everything still working well?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
can hear
fair
you.
enough. Good. Yeah. Any strange background noises?
A little bit. It's not bad though.
Hang on. Let me see if I can do something about that. Oh yeah, that's right. Boom.
Yeah.
Fixed. Yeah, fixed.
You sound
There you
great
go.
now.
Thanks. But it's kind of part of that. So now we have proof that he's a shady motherfucker. Great.
Oh, one more thing. So the agreements the employees
Mhm.
signed, right? So Sam Altman said he never knew about these agreements, like the NDAs or anything.
What?
Liar.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no way. I call a tremendous amount of bullshit on this. I don't know what he's talking about. I think he doesn't even know what he talks about himself, but I call tremendous bullshit. Major bullshit, actually.
Yes.
Give
Sorry.
me the Lord.
I've been inundated with so much Trump recently that my data set on like Trump has worked itself into my database, and I caught myself many times using the type of phrasing that he uses as well, which I think if you remove the politics from it is actually quite hilarious. You know, I feel like Trump is at his most hilarious when he's not political, because he just like says these things, you know. It's just like I don't think I know what I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna do it. Maybe I'm not gonna do it. Who knows what I'm
Nobody
gonna
knows what
do?
I'm gonna do.
Like nobody knows what I'm gonna do. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro.
Man, listen, your Trump impression is the bomb.
Yeah, thanks.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, the mimetic value of like Trump has gone up so much. No matter like what you think of him politically, you got to agree that he's at least in some way he's kind of funny, you know? Like no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, if you're a sane person, you can agree that what he does and what he sometimes talks about is a little bit funny, you know? It's something you just listen to and you go like, "Damn, dude." And then if you use that type of verbiage yourself, like the verbiage that he uses, it just makes you laugh on the inside. You can't figure out why that is, but it just is, right? Which is funny because it kind of like, you know, me being inundated with a lot of the stuff that exists because, you know, it's basically everything that everyone talks about. It's kind of like how AI has also shaped the world in a lot of ways, right? It has enabled people to disseminate information very quickly because before it would actually be somewhat difficult to write bullshit. Today, you can convince AI systems of bullshit yourself and then spread this along constantly. It's a very interesting situation, I'll tell you that much. Um, you know, you can see a lot of false information being circulated everywhere. And actually, as a matter of fact, Google is going to have a very big hand in this. They're already having a very big hand in this. You can see it right now. They have with VO3 that came out. It's a major disaster, and even I have like massive difficulties telling a VO3 video apart from reality. It's very difficult. It's very hard to do. I'll have to admit to that as well. I didn't think it was going to happen this early, but it's getting very good, and I think that by the end of the year, it'll be so goddamn indistinguishable that there's like literally zero hope other than context. And so now you got to think about how well can you like convince other systems, not just humans, to like accept a very particular aspect about reality that's online for you to be able to hyperstition it out into actual reality. So people have the Nelson Mandela, like the Mandela effect, right? Where they believe that the guy's dead because everybody reported the fact he was dead, but in fact he was never actually dead in the first place. It was just fake reporting, right? So like now people believe that there's two timelines when in fact there's only ever been one timeline, and that is the one where Nelson Mandela was alive, right? So now imagine what else you could do by false reporting. And if you now have, you know, media that can serve as evidence in some ways because it's so damn realistic, then it becomes a massive problem. And it already is a massive problem. I can see it. I've seen like a lot of fake videos. Like, you know, you have the bombing that's happening right now in Iran, right? That's really that's something. So a lot of people are like faking building collapses and such, and they look extremely realistic. And community notes is working overtime. Like they're really burning the midnight oil, trying to cover up all of the bullshit because, you know, you have to like, you know, look into this and establish whether or not it's an actual fact, you know, rooted in physical reality. Because, you know, I have said this before, and it will become increasingly more meaningful, that your X account is a gateway to the hyperreal. You know, things on here become increasingly real because you can make things that are fake appear extremely real. So then the hyperreal becomes so real that that's the only real that exists. And then you have to kind of like proof of work blockchain the problem out. And the answer just like happens to be Bitcoin again for like how you verify whether or not something is real or not real, like actually real, like physical baseline reality real. And so it's really interesting. And ChatGPT was like, for instance, the first beginning of this problem, where everybody started to like have a generated AI take that they use as a comment. They'd like write up huge threads, or even worse, you have like these grifters, and what they used to do was like they would sell newsletters on how to prompt a fucking AI system. Like, do you guys still remember that? Do you remember like the AI system? It's fucking hilarious. Like, hey, I'm gonna tell you how to prompt it. And then I still remember at the time what I did was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna like open the window. Like it's a big, beautiful window. It's a very nice computer. I'm gonna open the window and I'm gonna ask the system and ask it, "Hey, make me a blog post style instruction sheet on how to prompt Chat GPT." Boom. And it generated me the exact same bullshit that everybody else was getting psyoped into subscribing to. For free. It generated that shit for free. So you can imagine, like, how many threads have you read about, like, how to prompt an AI system? I'll bet you right now that probably 80% of those were all fake. They were all just, like, probably the AI describing itself. Because you can, in fact, just do those things. And there are a lot of grifters, and it still exists to this day. This is why, like, the AI community's in shambles, because they don't know what the fuck to talk about. The consciousness thing was dead because everybody realized it was just a predictive network. The instructions thing is dead because everybody now knows exactly how to do things, because they can, in fact, just talk to it. And the AI itself is, optimized so well that even the most incoherent type of instruction can be taken, like a natural language can be taken. It's amazing. Like the AI system, it's so easy to prompt it today that even those people have lost their plot. Everybody has lost their plot. The AGI people have lost their plot. The safety people have lost their plot. Now the computer guys are the last ones that remain. Once they figure out that CUDA is no longer the future, they're also going to lose their plot. Meanwhile, TSMC is sitting right there, and China is fucking our house cow Conan, sitting there going like, "Hey man, I want my spice." That's what's going to happen next. So you're going to see like, wow, TSMC's value is like so amazing. People are going to just look at this in a couple years in the future and be like, holy shit, how did he know? The answer is, I've been monitoring the situation. I've been monitoring it very hard. We've been doing a lot of monitoring. Me and the boys do a lot of monitoring. It's the biggest monitoring. It's the most monitoring that anyone can ever do. We monitor so hard. Everybody agrees that we monitor so hard. It's amazing what we can do. We monitor in ways that we have never even begun to like think about before. Like unprecedented levels of monitoring are happening right now.
Can confirm.
We have to closely monitor the OpenAI situation.
And that we will. And that's why I got Suraj in here to do the breakdown. I think he did a tremendous good job. Can everybody agree? I think that Suraj did a tremendous good job.
Very nice.
Yeah, I did.
Very
Good.
nice.
Thanks, Trey.
Siraj is amazing.
Very good, very good. It was the first actual breakdown that he's like done. Where like I just looked at the thing and I said, hey, Lawyer Cat's going to be out of commission. A lot of us are going to be out of commission. I looked at Suraj and I was like, hey, this is the type of thing that is like great for him to analyze. He usually like sits down, analyzes a lot of privacy policies and whatnot, and like sticks it to the big guys. Like those giga racist corporations that we don't like so very much. Well, he just looks through all of their fine print that you're never going to be able to read, parses it, and like condenses it into something that you can actually read, which we keep pinning in the XAC community. He also pinned a recent instruction guide on what to do if your passwords have been leaked, because there has been this big leak that's been collated and then leaked again. So there's been like two types of leaks that happened. First, there was a data breach, and there's a whole bunch of shit. Then all of that was like, collated into like this one collection, and that was then leaked again. And that's the 16 billion password article thing that we've been seeing on the timeline. So if you guys want to know, what to do if your passwords were amongst the ones that were leaked or once that were re-leaked effectively, then go and follow that instruction set. I think Suraj, can you like pin that up at the top? I think the article's on Time Chain Consulting because he wrote the article for Time Chain. He writes our articles now. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think you can find it. What am I seeing here?
Hey, Adrian, I have a question real quick. If someone's worried about like what happened with their personal information, can they use your consulting for that? Because I was thinking about asking Siraj to do that.
Not sure, maybe. But I mean, the instructions should be relatively clear. I think we wrote up an article there that you can kind of like read. If you want greater security, like you want to improve your security wholesale, and that's like beyond just just changing your passwords, then yeah, we can help out with that and give you a nice setup depending on what you need. There's like different levels to this. We got the super basic level, and we got the slightly more advanced level, and then we got the, hey, do you feel like people and aliens are watching you level? But that one's a little costly. And it's going to involve you using a phone that has an OS on it that is just, it like rips out the initial like corporate soul of the phone and puts Linuxified like whatever that is in there. It's pretty good. You're like a black phone,
That sounds awesome. I love it. That actually does sound really nice, though.
All right, if you want it, we can set that up. It's just gonna cost you for that because it's the advanced package.
Don't worry, she's got the money.
Wow, I like how chat is just like pimping around for this. Amazing work. Speaking of, thank you by the way for buying the merch as well. That would be Yeah, that's pretty cool. I heard you're probably gonna take a picture. I kind of like asked Chatban whether or not he could ask you if you could take a picture because you got a pretty good figure. It would be nice if you like had a great pose and be able to like take a picture of that somewhere. You know, I'm pretty sure like there's a Statue of Liberty thing that's also gonna happen there, if I've been informing myself correctly.
Why do you have to leak the surprise? I was gonna surprise you.
Don't worry, I always know I'm like the CIA.
Don't worry, I like the surprise. I was surprised. I was like, hey, that is fucking amazing. Don't worry about it. The surprise still counts. There's very few things that can surprise me, unfortunately, but that's not a problem. Don't worry about it. Oh
By
yeah,
the
by the
way,
way, I'm getting my computer soon as well, like the new setup. So the Halo live streams are coming back at some point. Not immediately, but that's coming back at some point. So that's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.
by the
Believe me.
way, Trump is gonna do an address to the nation soon.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I know what he's going to say.
What the
What is he
attack
gonna
is.
say?
I told them to not to mess with us. They wouldn't get on the bus. They should have took the deal. They didn't take the deal, and now they paid the price. We're the biggest. We're the baddest. We're the best, and that's all there is to it. We wake up, piss excellence every morning. We're
Exactly. You're gonna have
America.
like you think it's an Iran related thing, eh?
Yeah, we hit them.
Nuclear sites, yeah. 3 nuclear sites. Yep.
Amazing. That is
Shouldn't
some
have
crazy
threatened the
shit.
No
US.
casualties.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing that's happening. It's a quite crazy thing that's happening too. God damn.
Yeah, because
So
Russia
just a
said this
quick thing.
morning that Putin said this morning that the same people are threatening Iran that are threatening him, and then we bomb them tonight. So I'm not sure, man. I'm
God
not sure.
damn. Things are definitely happening. Holy shit.
Yeah, the Iranians put out something about nuking New York, and the captain just came out and told me. He said, "Now I'm a little nervous because we're headed to New York, New York."
You're gonna be fine. I don't think anything's gonna happen there. The United States has some incredible defenses, at least if, by going by what the US itself has said about its defenses. And I mean, I know who their defense is. I got a clip that you guys are gonna like. This is what my portfolio looks like every single time a war starts. Let me find it. Hold up, let me see. There it is. We are your defense. So this is defending you right there. So if you go watch that. This goes through my head every single time I like think about,
Oh,
defense.
this
This goes through my head. This like clip starts in my brain. So yeah, Texas Instruments is actually pretty cool. I have a laser projector that comes from China that has a chip in it that's made by Texas Instruments. So they're the reason why the laser projector lasers so well. Yeah, so they do a lot of cool things. I gotta say, this company has been around for a very long period of time. At least within our own lifetime, we're gonna see that they've been around for almost centuries. So that's something. That is quite impressive. I'll say that. You can disagree with a lot of these companies and their performance, specifically also Boeing when it comes to their normal civilian you know flight services, but it is what it is. They're still producing quite cool technology despite those types of failures, and I'm pretty sure they'll clean house eventually once they get past all the mandated DEI stuff that the previous administration had like forced upon them.
100%.
So yeah,
That's the issue there.
I don't have a problem with Boeing. I actually think they're kind of based. I remember it's still like the first plane I flew, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!" I read everything about it. Now it's real. And I was a little kid, and I was tweaking out about it. It was amazing.
nice.
Also, Adrian, just a quick thing. So the
Mhm.
article that we did is for everyone, not if you're being actually, targeted by some weirdos online, by the way. Like,
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Hang on. Let me put the article up there directly. Yeah, yeah. If you're targeted by random weirdos, there's nothing much that you can do about that, other than ignore it. This then falls under the cognitive security side of things, right? Where you just like kind of put up your mental shield for things, because there'll be a lot of people who will do crazy things and will try to come after you because of that. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of dealing with a situation recently as well that I became aware of, where like some random person who's like known to be schizophrenic and also is a very, very troubled individual. They're a very troubled individual. I have no idea what's wrong with them, but these guys like this person is like she keeps it going around telling everybody that she's like a single mother and some shit, and then you gotta like wonder, okay, but where's the kid? Turns out that that person has a restraining order issued against her. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Like how terrible of a person you have to be in order for a restraining order to be issued against a female? That's wild.
Yeah.
That's some hardship right there. Like that's concerning. That's very, very concerning. And that's also the same type of person who has had an obsession with me that I recently became aware of. Even one where they like wrote several books amongst a large collection of smut that they wrote, which is, I don't know, kind of troubling to me in some ways because I don't really appreciate being sexualized, to be honest. So like,
Bullshit.
yeah, and then that person, also like I did this thing where want to do the subscribers. So it's like I have a post for subscribers, right? So if you like subscribe, you can see that post. Where if you like send me $100 in Bitcoin and then proof of the transaction via like a link to the transaction hash, that then you'll get like a one-on-one phone call, just like call you to say thank you. And so that person, like, I've like I'm pausing this for the moment, by the way, because I'm pretty busy and I have a bunch of calls that I still need to get to which I'll be doing probably like within the next week or so because my life is kind of like recombining and becoming more better, and I will have less busy things happening because I had to work really, really hard. We just like started the business, so I had to like work really hard on that. It's been very busy. I've been very, very busy. Um, but so with that was like she sent me some money apparently. Right, never got the proof of the transaction. I just like saw a screenshot of like, okay, apparently a transfer happened out of like a Coinbase account, probably. And then so she starts harassing people on the timeline. She starts harassing people in my community, starts like going on a massive power trip in a group chat that I was added into, which I then left because I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. And then everybody else left as well. There's actually a bunch of people here who know exactly what I'm talking about. I think Jennifer here even got threatened by some of it. It's fucking insane, you know? And so because of this, like I said, hey, you can stop bothering me. Send me your Bitcoin address so I can send your crypto back. So I've been demanding this, and she doesn't send me the fucking Bitcoin address. Like, I want to pay you back. I want to give you your stupid fucking Bitcoins back. I'm trying to do this for like months now, and it's just not working. And so then recently, that whole thing came to a head again. And so I was like, okay, since you're drumming up schizo bullshit again after your like apology phase, which is right there, I said, send me your goddamn Bitcoin address again. I gave her like 3 hours at the time because she was online. And then I just left it there, the message, for like 12 hours, no response. But I check again, then the DMs are disabled. So now I can literally not even demand the Bitcoin address so that I can send things back. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep the Bitcoins because I don't like being slandered. I don't like being attacked. And I don't like people making content about me that is sexual in nature and profiting off of that during the height of controversy about me. So I'm keeping that as just compensation. You're not going to attack me. You're not going to get away with it. And consider yourself blessed that I'm not bored enough to go after you legally.
And then she has the
I'm very
audacity.
bored.
And then she has the audacity to go ahead and lie and say, "Well, he said that he sent the money back, but he hasn't." And I've been asking him to send the money back, and he hasn't done it. Bitch, you haven't fucking given the address for him to send
Like, I
it
can't
back.
send it back. I can't even trace which one it is because you've never sent proof of the transaction hash. Like, how am I supposed to even trace that? I tried. Really, believe me, I tried. I still have the entry. Like, Suraj and I calculated how much exactly in like Satoshis that was at the time. Because, I'm not going to send you back $100 in Bitcoin today. That's like totally different, right? Like, fuck that shit. It's like if that whole thing goes down and it's like there's a market adjustment, I'm not sending that back. Fuck that. And now I'm just going to keep that because, again, if you want to bother me, that's like the just compensation. If you want to take it further and you want to, like, she even egged on somebody else who then said something along the lines of trying to find me physically, which I kind of find hilarious in some ways. I feel like a lot of people have, over time, tried to test my OPSEC. So this is nothing entirely new to me. It's just another one of those like empty, like hollow threats that I put on this like very large pile of like very, very other hollow threats that have like, accumulated over the time period of where we did the H1B thing. So it's like, damn, dude, you guys are like proving that you're violent and you have no control over yourselves. You should probably be locked up in a mental institution. I don't like mental institutions. I think they're largely horrible. But I think that if some horrible people are out there in the open causing terrible things to happen, threatening people physically, egging people on to threaten other people physically, maybe the mental institution is a great alternative. And look, I'm bored of this. I'm not bored enough to like consider any legal action. I'm bored of the whole situation, which is why I'm bringing it up. I'm like, fuck this. So like kind of on the same level of what we were talking about when it comes to OPSEC and when it comes to dealing with these types of things, the best thing that you can do is have like a well curated network of people that know what you're about, that you can trust also, that don't get infiltrated, have cognitive security, and just at best ignore it. Right? Like that's the advice. Like I would have ignored it as well right now, but I had to like bring up an example to make a meritable argument about what it is like on the internet. You know, it's also one of the reasons where like sometimes people hit me up and they go, "Hey, I want to become big," and I'm like, are you sure you want that? Because a bunch of things are going to come along with that that you're not necessarily going to handle. So if you don't have the strength of character to handle a little bit of adversity, well, your life is going to fucking suck. Trust me. You know, it's been like very mentally exhausting and sometimes somehow even physically challenging to keep up with what has happened here. I've worked very hard since like, 2021, 23. I've worked very, very hard to like, create this thing here. And, so it's like, it's been very taxing. I was always like trapped in front of my computer for a little bit. I got even more work now. So my health had actually down in terms of like, me being able to exercise, which I'm getting back now because I'm like kind of getting the things back on track again, because there's like phases of being extremely busy. So I'm just not dealing with that. And I'm having a harsher policy that I'm like applying onto people who want to disturb me or want to disrupt things. Even with the community, I'm pretty sure you guys know I have like this thing that's called XAC. If you look on my profile, there's like sometimes people there who just do bullshit, who don't read the rules. I'm just instantly banning people now because I'm at this point where I have so little time left in terms of like what I can do in one day. Like, man, I haven't played any video games in weeks, man. It's fucking horrible. I've been very, very busy. So I'm not going to deal with this shit on top of everything else. Everybody else is going to like figure out how to align themselves. And if they can't do that, well, guess what? You missed your shot and you're fucked. You understand that there's a little bit of consequence on the internet. And you want access to me, well, that's a privilege. Okay? That's a privilege. That's not a thing that I owe anybody. That's a privilege. And tips are not in agreements. They're just tips. So I'm keeping my fucking bitcoins. Screw you. It's just like $100.
That's
Just
right,
like
Adrian.
degraded over time too. It's not even worth it.
That wasn't even a tenth of the drama for everyone in the listeners down below.
I'm so sorry you're dealing with that.
She's
It's
she's
obsessed
still
fans are
going, by
really
the way.
hard.
Oh no,
She's
no, no.
still
I'm
going,
fine
though.
with that. What I'm not fine with is people in the community getting fucked with, like you, for instance. That's fucked up. I can handle this, but you, I'm not too sure about. I don't want to like put that on you, right? And they've like gone after you. I'm pretty sure like some of them are threatening. You even had to like file a police report, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But I mean, hey, sometimes you got to go full retard.
Yeah.
Never
I
go
know
full
Outa doesn't
retard.
agree.
Never go full
I
retard.
knew that
Never
was
go full
coming.
retard. Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, behind the scenes of this
You
like
always go full retard.
But yeah, behind the scenes of like this very interesting curated experience that is the Adrian Dittmann community, there is a lot of work that makes sure that that experience can exist. Because you may have heard this phrase that people can't have nice things. Well, it's because there's a lot of nice people out there, but the ones who are not nice cause so much damage in an otherwise high trust society or community that builds itself up that you then eventually leads to a scenario where you can't in fact have nice things. And I don't want anybody else to suffer from that. So I will just simply remove the disturbances everywhere. And if then a situation comes to my attention, I expect everybody else to have the cognitive security to look at that and go, yeah, that's bullshit. You guys know me. Some of you have followed me for years now. You guys know exactly what I'm about. I'm very consistent with what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I have a desire for. I'm pretty sure everybody understands that, right? Right? Nothing is going to change in that regard. My ethics are fucking sound. Like I worship through action, and man, have I worshipped.
Indeed.
Oh, hey, Chatband, the organizer, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
I know about the
Thank
Liberty
you for
thing, by the
having
way.
me. This is awesome. Say that again. I'm
I
deaf.
said I know about the Statue of Liberty thing, by the way, so that's no longer a surprise. But yeah, that was great. That's pretty cool. I can't wait for that. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if that person is around, but there was an amazing painting that was done of me by Moondoggy. That was pretty cool. That was really beautiful. That was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, send some love to her because of that. It was really beautiful. Yeah, she even wanted to send the painting to me physically, but I wouldn't want that to be damaged in transit, so I'm just gonna kind of like keep it there. She's gonna keep that safe. But yeah, it's pretty nice to
I
have
think
like
it's sick.
yourself physically like painted is so cool, and I love the fact that that art still exists out there. You know, like physical art is really, really important, and it's a dying art that, if not preserved, will be lost to eternity, and this cannot happen.
She is a talented lady.
That is true. So Outa, man, that's pretty cool. I love that. She's also very nice. I had a bit of a chat with her leading up to it, and she's very nice. So I also followed her. I was like, "Hey, man, this is really decent. It's really cool." So yeah, it's a nice creator on the platform. Epic.
I painted at the top for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's the painting. I like the time lapse of it being created, where then later also the eyes were added in. So it's like, man, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah.
Probably at some point have like prints of that on like a shirt or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, that looks neat. That looks so fucking neat.
A shirt or a hoodie or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
You guys are really good.
I may need to like figure out an address so I can send her some shit from like our shop as a thank you. But we'll see. Oh yeah, we also have merch. Thank you for all the people who have bought our time chain merch. It's been really cool. It goes a long way. Not sure, like I'm pretty sure there's a few listeners who already have it and who are already using it. I think alternate Adrian, for instance, he has like a mug, so that's pretty cool. He's like a mug and a shirt. I think he has 2 shirts, one white, one black, that he was like posing with.
You got one of everything.
Nice.
Mine came today to my house in Florida, but I won't be there till tomorrow night. I'm excited to get a hold of it.
Amazing. I saw the print quality. It's really, really nice. Also, it's 100% cotton because we're looking after our own people, of course. We want to make sure that everything is done well and is non-toxic, right? Because like polyester is the work of the devil, which is not good for you. Sounds very, very funny to say that, but it's absolutely true. Here's alternate Adrian wearing the drip. The mug is like so excellent. I love the mug.
Yeah.
You can go around with like
By the
triangles on
way,
your shirts.
Adrian, Lawyer is here. Might be useful to know what happens if you lie under oath.
Oh, yes, please do tell.
Well, lying under oath is called perjury, and it depends on the jurisdiction. So every state and the federal court, or not federal courts, but the federal legislature get to set the penalties for perjury, which is, almost always a crime to some extent. Sometimes it's a gross misdemeanor, sometimes it's a felony. It depends on the context, the jurisdiction, and the seriousness. However, it's essentially almost always criminal. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that people are always held accountable for perjury. Unfortunately, a lot of times people lie on the stand, and if there's not evidence to contradict them or counter witness to prove that what they're saying is false, and they can get away with perjury. So the question of what happens when somebody lies under oath is kind of a complicated one because it depends on whether they get caught lying or not. If they get caught lying, I mean, there are instant consequences within whatever litigation is happening at the moment, right? Because whoever is lying is discredited. It means that the court is going to start drawing conclusions and making presumptions against them. And that can stack up and add to losing a case. And then depending on what the local prosecutor or whoever the applicable prosecutor is, depending on their judgment of the perjury and how egregious it is and whether they think it warrants criminal prosecution, they could pursue criminal charges for something like that. So lying under oath is a very serious thing. It's not something that should ever be done. You should always tell the truth if you are in court, if you are sworn under oath, because the consequences are so serious. They can be so serious. It'll hurt you in whatever court proceeding you're a part of, and potentially hurt you in the future as well.
Guys who
By the
lied.
way, I think
Sam Altman may
that
have.
Trump gave his address. It was like 5 minutes long or something.
Yeah, it was during Adrian talking about the Bitcoin thing with the crazy chick, but yeah, it was real short. He just basically
Bitcoin thing?
said
What Bitcoin thing?
The crazy chick.
Oh, that yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you
You're
talking about? I thought it was
obsessed
like
fan.
I thought we were about to like talk about the crypto exchange. It was like, but not the crypto. Was it crypto? I think it was a crypto exchange that got like hacked in Iran.
Yeah, $50 million or something
Yeah.
like that. 50 or
I
100
will
million.
say, like, the thing that's very impressive is like somehow Israeli intelligence is more impressive than the CIA at this point because the surgical
No,
operations
that
where like
wasn't.
people
That
even lose like
wasn't
that wasn't
Israel.
even
That
that
wasn't
wasn't even
Israel.
no, that wasn't an
That
Israeli
wasn't
hacker group
Israel.
though. That wasn't an Israeli
No, it
hacker group
wasn't.
though.
No, it
Yeah, it
wasn't.
was. I'm pretty sure it was.
No, it was.
I think
It was
Israel
an.
claimed.
I think it was an anti-Iranian hacker group.
It was. I'm pretty sure it was Israeli. Let me check.
Because I know the banks getting shut down wasn't an Israeli group.
Chad, what did Trump say?
Just about exactly what I said. He come out with Marco Rubio flanked with by JD, and then had Pete Hegseth, and he was like, very somber and said we have absolutely obliterated their nuclear facilities, and they are no more.
Yep,
And
that
Pete
was an
Hegseth
Israeli
will
hacker group.
have.
Yep. Gonja.
Israeli
Yeah.
Which one
aligned.
was the
Yeah.
Iranian one?
I have no
That were
idea.
against the government.
I have no idea. But yeah, an Israeli hacker group known as uh, hang on.
Predatory sparrows.
Let me see if I can pronounce that. Gonjeshka Darande, I guess is perhaps. Yeah, Predatory
Yeah, the
Sparrow claimed
predatory sparrow.
responsibility for
Yeah.
hacking Nobitex, Iran's largest cryptocurrency exchange in June 2025. Right. Interesting. I knew it was in the back of my brain. I just like kind of stored that away. I was like, yes, I am very, very certain
Yeah,
that was the case.
and they burned the
I
assets. They
want to
sent
do
them to burn
something. I want to
wallets.
do something. I want to bring up the artist of the painting, if you're fine with that. And like give the spaces experience. I want to do the spaces experience.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, that it would.
I love fine art and artists. That's
See if that works. And I think it did.
Moondoggy,
oh,
welcome.
I love her. We mutual. I love her so much. She's fantastic. Y'all have to follow her. She does amazing art.
Mic check, mic check. Can you hear us?
Yes,
I can hear
hear you
you.
guys.
Awesome. Is this your first space?
Well, just a few I've done.
It's probably like the
I
largest
haven't
one,
done
I'm
that.
pretty sure.
I'm super shy, but I think this is good for me
Yeah.
to speak up
Exposure.
and yeah, come out of my little cave.
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember like the first time I got onto a space. This was when I had like about 100 followers, and I went onto this like very large space, this Mariana Fall space. There was like thousands of listeners in there. Dude, my fucking heart was racing at the time. Today, it just feels like another Tuesday. Really, you know what I mean? It just feels
Yeah.
very normal to do. But like the first time, there's nothing like the first time. You go up there and you feel the pressure of it. But like you have to pre-mine the future where you think about, hey, what if it was just like a bunch of friends? Like, I mean, what is like what can I talk about that's not, problematic? And what if I was like at somebody's house? That's kind of like what a space is to me. And I feel like we could just have a bit of fun. And so that takes the edge off on the pressure. Even like when there's like the peak politics in January, where like there were thousands of listeners in here. It was a bit more pressure than usual because I just like needed to cover like this thing because people kept bringing it up, and it had to be done accurately because otherwise it was just going to be some misrepresentation of the facts that was not okay. So yeah, but like this is more a curated experience that builds itself up over the week, every week on your American Saturday. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
Are you like a long-term listener? Like, how long have you been listening to the conversation?
I just joined in about maybe 3 or 4 minutes ago.
No, I mean like over time. Like, how long have you like listened to it over time? Like like the first time. I mean,
Oh, the
not like you
first
joining
time?
it.
Oh, sorry, I'm very literal.
No, it's fine.
Probably just under a year.
Oh, nice, epic. You've been around for a lot of the crazy shit, I suppose.
Yep. Actually, the you sound so much like
I know it's a bit of a
That
thing. I
is
think
so
over time, you're gonna get used to the fact that I kind of don't. Like, for instance, with Outa over here, like the first time I met him and he met me, we both like he thought that I sounded like Elon, and I thought he sounded like Andrew Tate. Now all I hear is just Outa. Like I can't hear like
Yeah.
Andrew Tate from him
Yeah, I
anymore,
can't
and
hear.
he can.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
he just
hear.
hears Adrian now. It's not
Yeah.
Elon talking anymore.
Now people are like, now people get them confused, and I'm like, they don't sound anything alike.
His like training set has been updated. We sound very
Yeah.
similar, but there's subtle differences that become very apparent if you listen to me for quite a
Yeah.
while. But yeah,
Okay.
it's at
Yeah.
first the data set is like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities, yes. Especially the laugh, which is not doing me any favors in like proving the opposite of a conspiracy theory, I'll be honest. It's like
That's
Last
brilliant.
spot on.
or like when I say, hey, I'm just gonna like unironically say this thing over here, where it's like, I would probably do this thing and this thing and that thing, and it would be totally different. And then I realized, actually, that's exactly what Elon would do. Fuck, And this would be the constant situation that kept coming up. Yeah, that's pretty great.
That's great.
Yeah, it happens.
Moondoggy,
So
how
yeah,
long have
thanks
you
for
been
the.
painting? How have you been painting your whole life?
So, when I was a kid, my parents used to restore fine art, and so I got into that when I was really young. And then my parents passed away when I was 17, and then I just stopped completely. I stopped painting, drawing. I just had to find myself. And then it was about a couple of years ago, I just rekindled the passion. So I went right back in, and now I'm like, I don't think I can go without it. I I I don't know what took me so long, but I I must have, needed the time in my life to find myself. And so, and of course, when you're like very much inspired by a brilliant mind, like such as Elon Musk, somebody like that defied logic, to me, that just emboldened me to just explode. I love it. It's great. So that's one of my biggest influences. um and of course, I love painting all kinds of stuff. So I they always say, like, you need to pick the same scheme of subjects all the time, and it's like, no, I need to paint everything. So I'm just sort of dabbling with everything, anything and everything, if I can paint it.
Amazing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've always wanted somebody to like physically paint the thing, and it's hilarious that you choose these bluish tones, which are kind of similar to alternate Adrian in a sense, which he like came up with independently. Like alternate Adrian is like this speculative. So Alternate Adrian is a speculative value investor, really, because he like saw my potential early on, where it was like not even anywhere close to 100K or even 50K, and bro was like, "Hey, I'm gonna create a parody account out of you." I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting." And so like you have this account is like what, from 2011, and you have like mine that's from like 2021, and everybody's like, "How the fuck does that work?" The answer is it doesn't. Let me explain. Never mind. I'm not going to explain that. It's just old accounts. Like the catchphrase "Let me explain," followed by something even more insane than the preface. You know.
I so if I may say, so I wake up one morning and I get a message in my DM, Adrian, for you to like paint this. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like
I
wondering
thought
if you could do it. It was
that was
great.
such an honor. I just can't tell you how flattered and honored I am. I like that is so freaking cool. Thank you.
No, thank you for painting it. It was great. No, I just saw the art. I was like, oh, this is interesting because it just like came up on my recommendation feed, and I kind of like remembered you from like a way back thing. I may have seen like some of your art before as well because you like keep painting. You also paint the launches, right? I believe you also paint the Starship launches.
Yes. Yep.
Right, I may have seen that, and
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, hey, I recognize this." And so I checked the feed, and I checked that you like make portraits, and I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna ask." Since you're like a subscriber, I was like, "Okay, maybe you're kind of open to that." And I just like hit you up, and
oh,
I said, "Hey,
oh,
why not?"
oh, hell yes. Very
And I
cool.
saw
Yeah.
that. It was pretty
So
cool.
that painting of the Starship launch that I first painted, I turned it into one of those Giphies. It's just like one of those little animated things. And
Hmm.
just it was I'm surprised that like a lot of people liked it. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. You know, and then coincidentally, Elon Musk had like shared my Giphy, but of course he didn't know who I was. It was just a Giphy, but
Yeah.
it was cool. It was really neat, and you know, for it to be seen and stuff, and that really means a lot. That's really cool, and I love that this platform is allowing us to, you know, do things like this, because you know, like other social media sites, it's crickets. Well, for me it is. I just feel like I could be myself here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
Yeah, I like this platform as well. It's why I put a lot of time into it. I see a very good future for it, and that future has just already materialized, in my opinion, which is why I
I-
like continue to like create the content that I do and why I put so much time into it. Like it just kind of became its own thing at some point. I really enjoy it. I just have it here for fun. It's
yeah.
like it's a video game now at this point, which I enjoy logging into every day. And it's like X.com, the video game. Like my usage hours are like 30 to 40 hours every week that I use this app just to monitor situations. So I'm like on top of everything. And then
Mhm.
like, kind of in between that, I like do my work and I like do additional work, which is the stuff that's company related. And like all of that just kind of like mixes together. So I feel like the human version of the CIA, where it's like you're on top of every situation.
Love that. That's good
I'm like
stuff.
literally the CIA. People ask me like, "What do you do for a living?" Well, I'm kind of like the CIA if it was a process optimizer, you know?
Mhm. Monitor everything.
Monitor everything, exactly. Even stuff that people can't believe that I'm able to monitor. Precisely.
I got a new computer. I need to situate my monitor.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna post that yesterday. And it's like situating the monitor. I was like, I should probably do that now. Not gonna lie, situating the monitor. Hang on a sec. I should probably do that. Let's just like take a picture, and I'm like, let's see. Let's take a picture here. Let me just like wipe the lens because it's gonna have too much glare on it. Otherwise, we're gonna have like a little bit of lens flare. There we go. Let's go.
My jokes always do better coming from Adrian.
That's real. It's a sponsor.
Now, Moondoggy, have you been able to come out to any of the launches yet? Have you made it out to Starbase?
I have. I think it was in January of this year. I saw Falcon 9 Heavy in 20, I think it was 2021, November of 2021. And then I saw the Starship launch. It was, can I swear on here?
Sure.
It was of course I can, right?
Yeah,
It was
It's
it was
huge. Yeah.
it was fucking incredible. It was more than anything I could. It's like seeing fireworks. It changes you. It's like, no, fireworks are never going to be the same by far. It was beautiful. Um, I've never seen so many happy people there. Like there was a lot of people that were watching it. We were out on the beach, and I actually painted a picture of a little paint. Actually ran to the Michael's art store, bought some canvas on hand, and bought some like little sample paints, and just went out to the Starship, uh, the little area where you can hang out over by the beach, and just painted it. And this drone was like flying over my head, like trying to, I guess, scope me out to see what I was up to.
That's
It was
SpaceX saying hi.
it
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. It was beautiful.
The
Yeah, I
drone is
saw.
fucking crazy.
I enjoyed making like an edit of like the first successful catch that was like so cool to do. That was even like the one that was I think I even reposted by Elon a bunch too. It was pretty cool. So yeah, it was nice. Even like I have a guy who is a musician, so I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I want to like make a soundtrack for it, and just like I told him what to kind of like emulate. And then we created like this amazing piece of music and then have that in the video. I'm pretty sure it's like one of my favorites was like Launch 6. Launch 6 will forever be like one of my favorites because it also had like a really, really cool soundtrack in it. So yeah, hang on. Let me
Yeah,
see if I can
launch.
find Launch
I
6.
almost made it to launch 6.
Ah, I want to
Oh
make it
man.
for a Starship launch one day, but it's just like it's a
It-
little bit too unpredictable, and I'd have to
yeah.
like be away for a bit. So if it doesn't like
Mhm.
pan out, then it's like okay, well, and dipping and going there at a moment's notice is going to be a bit of a is going to be a bit of a hassle because I'd have to do it through all the commercial flights unless somebody's got a private jet that you're going to pick me up in, which I doubt. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen otherwise.
And then there were cyber trucks like spinning donuts everywhere.
Hey, I did that shit too. I was in Austin like April of last year, and it was like one of my friends. He has like a Cybertruck, and it just kind of happened organically. I was supposed to be there for like a different, it was like meeting somebody else entirely, but that didn't pan out. And so I just happened to accidentally mention in one of like the Tesla chats that, oh yeah, by the way, I'm in Austin. And this guy's like, you're in Austin? I'm in Austin too. Want to drive the Cybertruck? I'm like, yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then we were
man.
like, it was
That's
like late
awesome.
night. We were doing donuts in the fucking parking lot with the Cybertruck. It was so
That's
fucking fun.
fantastic.
It was great.
I'm telling you, the Tesla SpaceX crossover at Cyber Beach is amazing. So, Moondoggy, the next time you're down there, let me know. I'll meet you up, girl, because God, we have a lot of fun. And we have beach fires and everything. Like the
I would
vibe is
love
so
to.
high.
I would love to. I would love to go back again. In fact, I was so enamored by it that I almost actually missed the flight. They had delayed it a couple of times, and so I had to like change the flight a couple times.
Oh
And
wow.
but it was well worth it. It was
It was
well worth it.
IFT5. This is the one that I really enjoyed making. IFT5 was that one we had like a soundtrack made for it, which was
Mhm.
just really baller. It was just the best. I think it's one of the best edits that I've ever made. Especially because like the way it hits towards the end. So like after the space concludes, which I'm thinking of doing in a few minutes, just like have a look at that. Like just shut everything down. Just kind of like look at that, make sure that that's the thing you're absorbing. It's really nice. Part of the inspiration behind the soundtrack is actually like look at Hans Zimmer for instance. He's like one of the greatest musicians of our time, I believe,
One of
and
my favorites.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing. Well, as I posted earlier about like the one that's called Flight, the one that they used for Man of Steel, which was like the last time that DC and Superman as an IP actually peaked, in my opinion.
Oh
I was
hell
like,
yes.
nothing will ever be better than Henry Cavill's like Superman. The whole aesthetic that they created for like that entire like arc leading into the Justice League, but like the Snyder cut, which is like 4 hours long. I watched the whole thing. It's really really good. It's like better than even Avengers Endgame, I think, because it had this flushed out feel to it, which was really really cool, and I really really enjoyed. And they completely just like after that, DC just really cooked itself. The Flash movie was kind of meh. All the other like follow-ups are kind of meh. And now the next Superman movie that comes out is with it's like without Henry Cavill, man. Like, come on, you don't know your audience. You got to bring that guy back. And damn, dude, they really dropped the ball on
I
that one. They
really
really
like
dropped the
those
ball on that one. Looks like
DC.
I'm playing an Unreal Engine video
I
game,
really like
and
those
it'd be even.
DC.
I mean, looking at it, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what that was. It's probably just all rendered in Unreal Engine. It's like not as expensive, and yeah. James Gunn makes great Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but he's not cut out for Superman. Not at all. Like just from the trailer, I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this just feels like I'm playing a video game, and it doesn't feel like a cinematic experience. It's gonna suck, and a lot of people have told me it's sucking. So I'm like, okay, I may give it a watch, but I'm really not convinced. I'll like watch one clip, and if that shit's like not really giving me the feel of it that I want, I'm just not watching it.
I really
But
like
yeah,
the
that was the opposite
DC.
for like Man of Steel. I like watched a fucking 10, 20-second clip of the movie once, kind of out of context. I was like, this is like kind of dark but optimistic. It's really artistic. I like it. I'm gonna watch it. No disappointments. No disappointments watching that movie. It was beautiful. It's true fucking art right there. If Synthetica was here, he'd be able to talk more about it, but I feel like he's busy a little bit too. He's our VFX guy, by the way. So yeah, we have a whole bunch of things. We make things now. We can actually make things. It's pretty cool. So yeah, there's the IFT5. I thought it was IFT6. IFT6 was also a pretty good edit. You can like search that on my profile, like just like search IFT6. So we called it IFT because like integrated flight test, but
Flight
it turned out it
test,
was
yeah.
like never actually an acronym. It was just like the community acronym. So it was like, okay, so it's just called flight test. Gotcha. So I like had the whole
Better, more ring to it.
IFT naming convention for all this time, and just turned out to be like this unofficial way to refer to it as. So it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, so the naming convention lasts up until I think like IFT6, and then after that, there's been like no more naming conventions. And I've also been like waiting until I until there's like this next great launch where I can like make a full edit of it again, you know. So I'm like waiting for that to happen. I'm really excited for the next thing. Yeah, hope for the best. We want to see that rocket go up in space and not blow up. The data is valuable, but it's heartbreaking to see that hard work just like, boom. You know what I mean? Even though like Kimball, when he was talking about the early days of SpaceX, he was like investing in it, and he said something to the effect of like, "Oh yeah, it was a great, it was an absolutely great investment. I got to watch rockets blow up all day." I'm like, what the fuck, man? That's horrible. He was like, "Oh yeah, it was amazing. I got to watch rockets blow up every day." I'm like, damn. That is messed up, dude. Like Elon's face next to him, I was like, dude, that is crazy work. Hang on, is my microphone still working? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you're all
Yeah,
good.
Is
we
Moon
can
Dog
hear you.
speaking? Oh, I can't hear anybody. Hang on a minute. Let me disconnect and reconnect.
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you guys.
We can hear you, but
We're
Adrian
just
might be
Adrian.
disconnected.
And that was the end of the space team.
I'm just
Go
letting
ahead,
y'all know.
Tate.
I dropped a dank meme into the
Boom, boom,
comments.
boom. I'm back.
Hey, you back? You back?
We are so back.
We back.
Can you hear us?
Yes, that I can.
We are so back. Adrian, if you could go to Mars, would you go?
Probably. It depends on like how old I'd be, but if I'd be like in my 40s, close to 50s, I'd consider it. Yeah. My
I'd go
kid's gonna be
depending
like
on who else is going.
if I have a kid when in like the time period where I'm planning it to be, then that kid's gonna be like 15 or so by the time that happens, if it hypothetically would happen. And I think that they'd be okay with it, but I'd leave behind a lot. And that's something I'm not sure if I could do. But if it's something that legitimately furthers like, humanity, I'd probably do it, you know? I just hope that they could forgive me for it. Because otherwise that's an unfair thing to do. But yeah. We'll see. I'd probably do it. There's a very high chance I'd do it. Like 70-80%.
I'm out.
I'm willing to die there.
Me too. Yeah, I'd go.
Just hopefully not on
Okay.
impact. I don't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a horrible way to
Bad
die. Not
choice.
gonna lie. I don't want to be barbecued on Mars, man. That's
And,
not. That's
and
not.
imagine having the first human being born on Mars, and then that person would come to Earth for the first time.
That would be an experience. They're
Can you
gonna
imagine?
really.
Like, that's actually possible. This could happen.
Yes.
Wow.
And it very
They're gonna
well
hate it though.
probably will.
They're gonna hate it though
It
because
will.
like the gravity is so much higher on Earth. It's like
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
very taxing.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Have you
yeah.
watched The
You
Expanse?
could scoot around on Mars very easily.
Oh yeah, you could jump like fucking Superman or like Hulk. It's possible. Have you like watched The Expanse? There's like this The Expanse is like pretty realistic in that they like did the multiplanetary exploration thing, and then they brought people from like other colonies back to Earth for them to be punished. And like one of the methods of torture was to just like have these people just sit there because it was that hard to just kind of breathe and exist under Earth's gravity. It's like
Wow.
crazy.
You're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the belters.
It
I
would be
believe so.
like it
Yeah.
would be like
Yeah. The
adjusting,
Belters.
and
Exactly.
it would be like adjusting to the altitude. Like if folks that climb those tall mountains, you have to adjust. And there's some people that are from there that it's like nothing to them.
Oh yeah, and it takes a long time for your body to adjust to the additional pressure and the additional gravity that's going to be on you. And imagine if you've like grown up all of your life on Mars, that shit's going to be gone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ironically enough, that's like the Superman model. It's like, hey, you've been your environment is so shit. If you're now on Earth, you just become the superpowered being. But if you like put you back in the environment, you're just like an average dude. You just get beaten up by Batman. It's like, damn, dude, you get beat up by like the billionaire. Fuck me, man. That's crazy work. Well, he's not an average dude by any metric. I have no idea, like what I don't know what Alfred puts into like Batman's food, but whatever this guy's eating, he's like somewhat impervious to
Well,
damage half the time.
he's had decades of training, though. You need to realize that too.
Decades of training my ass. This bitch gets thrown through brick walls by fucking Darkseid
Listen.
and is like, I'm
Listen,
fine, I can still talk. How the
listen.
fuck did you do that?
He got trained by Shaolin monks to fucking stop a space alien from reading his mind, right? That's like the least ridiculous part of the fucking whole Batman
I
thing.
know that part, but like there are limits to human biology where that no longer makes any sense unless he's like put something in his food that like strengthens his fucking cells. You know? Like legitimately, like one of the series was like he was going to Darkseid's planet, you know, and he was like threatening Darkseid because he like armed all the Hellspores and shit, which was like, you know, the DC equivalent of like an alien nuke, basically, right? It could destroy the whole fucking planet. And it's like, hey, you let go of Kar-Zor-El or I'm blowing up your entire planet. And he's like, nah, you're bullshitting. You don't have that. Gives him the code, then fucking grabs Batman by the neck and like pushes him through a wall, and he still is on it and says, "You give me word, you don't kill him." And then the guy says, "Well played." I don't think anyone else has the strength of character to blow up an entire planet just to prove a point. Fuck. You're built different when fucking Darkseid, who's killed many worlds, tells you, man, I couldn't believe that you'd blow up an entire world just because, of a single person. Well played. That's crazy. I say, well, he said something to the fact of like, had the Elon or the Kryptonian taken that gamble, they would have lost, but they don't have the strength of character that it takes to blow up an entire planet. I'm like, bro, that's crazy work. It really is.
You brought up a great point, though. It's going to be interesting to see how Mars affects like human evolution. Like, we're going to have two different versions of humans.
Yes.
If you think about it.
Yes. Also, we still have to like figure
Absolutely.
out what happens when you have like babies in space. That's not been, we're gonna have to like get this Chinese guy. What was his name? Jacqueline something? That this dude who like, genetically modified babies. We have to like get
Yeah.
this guy into space so he does the unethical shit for us so that we take none of the blame, We're like, he already did that. So you already pre-mined that. So we like put him into space and get him to jack off because none of the astronauts are going to do it. I don't understand why the astronauts aren't doing it. I would do it immediately and be like, hey, Earth needs some important science for you to do. Can you goon in the name of science? Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't even like hesitate.
The sex ban on the space station is bullshit.
Agreed. But I feel like maybe there was a
you
bit of a
can't.
point.
I don't even think you can get pregnant if you have sex in space.
That's not even the only problem. I feel like another one
I'll
is
take
like
that
there's
challenge.
like this gland that exists at the base of the dick, which is like this thing that requires gravity in order to work properly. So it's not even entirely known if it was possible to actually, bust in space. But people have asked, they've asked the asteroid, like, hey, can you goon in the name of science? And they said no. And I'm sitting here like, bro, seriously, easy challenge. I would do it immediately.
Well, the way I've seen it,
Okay.
firstly, it's very difficult to impossible to ejaculate, and then it's also, even if you do manage to ejaculate, is the sperm gonna make it to the egg, right? It looks like the sperm
It's gonna make
actually
it
does need.
somewhere. It's gonna make it somewhere, all right. That's what's
It
gonna
looks
happen. It's
like
gonna come out
it
with some
looks like it looks like the sperm needs gravity to get to the
to the
egg.
egg, yes.
So I'm not.
This is the
Javier.
best
Listen,
spaces ever.
inquiring minds want to know. Oh my God, yes.
The answer is a vibration from the female orgasm.
Jesus
Can you
fucking Christ.
imagine not participating and then you just get fluids all over you? You're just like the third person on the space
Somebody's gonna
station.
like it's gonna exactly literally like require somebody else to like have this like can or something because it's like, hey, you're about to bust, or just like monitor the situation. That's one hell of a situation to monitor, not gonna lie, because you're not really gonna do it on your own. You're just gonna kind of like float there through the space station trying to actively goon, and the acceleration is like getting it to spin already because that's fucking insane. And you're like sitting there like the fucking cup or something because the whole space station is like many decades old, and I don't think it's like a particularly nice thing to clean that out of the fucking space station after you're done, because water isn't necessarily a thing that's like, available as much as it should be for that particular practice. That's like actually one of the reasons why they want to deorbit the space station, just like rebuild it again, because like it's that fucking dirty. It's grimy as fuck.
Gross.
I think we need to literally fuck around and find out in space. I have to know now, guys. I have to know.
I'm down with the gooning. I'm
I
down with the
agree.
gooning. I would do it myself. I would just go up there and be the astronaut who goons. If that's my designation, if that's my legacy, I'm kind of fine with that in some way. It's legendary. I take one for the boys. I take one for everybody. I do it.
The one who
Needs an
goes.
action scene. I
I'm just
want to
saying,
be the action
you need
scene.
an extra person.
Well, we appreciate your effort,
My
definitely.
contribution to science, like, oh, you went to space and you contributed to reproductive science in space. Yes. How did you do it? Well,
It's
there
like
was this
those.
thing called gooning. Let me explain.
It's like the 6 children born in fucking Antarctica.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Wait, what?
that's a funny lore drop.
You boys have to tell the story now. I don't know it.
Basically,
that'd be
basically a bunch of women decided, I want my child to be unique. Went to Antarctica, gave birthday, and then they went back to their country.
Yes.
That's a summary.
I guess they all want to get closer to
It's very
Hyperborea.
anticlimactic.
I mean, what did you want?
Hyperborea, that's what they wanted. They wanted to get close to Hyperborea. Don't ask me what that is. You're gonna have to figure that one out yourself. Now you also understand why there was so many like weird UFO edits and schizo shit about like, them figuring out that there's like strange frequencies coming up from under the ice. It's like, what's happening there? Well, Hyperborean sleep. I will not elaborate. You're gonna have to figure that one out for yourself. And you're gonna be like, how the fuck does he know that? The answer is media literacy, okay? I have to know these things. It's not my fucking fault that there's this content is on the internet. I'm understanding it. It's not,
We're gonna have rotating pods that create 1G of gravity on Mars.
Ah, yes. By the way, that's the exact thing that's going to happen on the 6-month trip between Earth to Mars. So if there ever is going to be any type of gooning that's going to happen, then it's most likely possible to do it within that specific confines of that mission. Although I still
And
think it's
defense
impossible.
pods.
I still think it needs to be figured out. We need to the Vomit Comet. That plane that's called the Vomit Comet. Do you guys know what that is? It's like this plane that like flies up real high and just like dips, right? Like it really, really
Oh,
dips hard.
Yeah, heck
yes.
yeah.
What I'm thinking is, if I ever get the money, we could like solo rent this thing, get a bit of privacy in the room, and I'm gonna goon hard to figure out whether or not we can goon weightlessly.
The
Like,
I will
100,000
figure it
mile
out. I
high
need to know.
club.
Good use of money, yeah.
Every
It's
orgy
true
needs
that
a witness.
it's true that you also have to wait, I think, for the planets to line up in the proper way every 2 years.
Exactly, yeah, and then you get to go over. Unless, of course, you practice the religious thing, then that's the only time you can goon in as well. Fuck. Your astrology is wicked.
I'm glad we're figuring out this esoteric knowledge now.
Yeah, that's esoteric, all right. I don't think anybody can truly answer that question. It's like, hey, have you gooned in space? I'm like, yes, that's my resume. Designated space gooner. Yes. Fucking hell, man. I feel like this is the reason why I'm never going to be an astronaut. I don't think NASA is like too okay with this, but I'm like, hey, I will do this. I don't really care.
It's the reason why they should let you be an
You
astronaut.
there's
Yes, put me in the
all
capsule.
these things. There's all these things that like we don't know the answers to because the scientific community is just like, oh, the ethics. It's gonna be unethical to find them. Motherfucker, I want to find out. Do it. I don't give a shit about your retarded ass ethics.
Sure as hell haven't helped
They're
anybody
just,
else when they
they're
were
just
doing that.
prude. They're just jealous.
I think it would work if you gooned in space because you can goon upside down.
I've never tried the gooning upside down
Tell
thing,
me
but
how
okay.
you know, JP.
He's a southerner.
it
He
off.
literally puts a fucking zin up his foreskin. I wouldn't ask any more questions beyond that. I feel like it's self-explanatory. He's literally locking in his cock. It's crazy
That's
work.
true. It's true. I got 4 in right now.
Are you fucking
You have
serious?
to like sign a waiver that says you're not going to go in space, like before you become an astronaut.
It's really banned on the space station. And I'm like,
Kevin,
holy shit,
Guys,
why?
dudes are not going to go
Serious.
2 days without gooning
If
or
Elon
boning
is if like
something.
if
They've been in
Elon ever
space
like
for
puts
6 months.
if Elon ever puts me in a capsule, I would be happy to goon and just make sure that the whole thing is like, I'm not locked in there with you, you're locked in there with me. Can you imagine that? That's gotta be like, how do you get privacy inside of the tiny little fucking space capsule to do your business, man? Your reputation is gone after that. Like that takes some serious willpower. I have the willpower, but I don't think anybody else has the willpower to like restrain themselves from judgment.
In prison, they
Noise
call it
canceling
PPP.
you also need
headphones,
a
my
cameraman.
I'm
friend.
in the corner over there. It's like, I'm doing science. Leave me alone.
You need a cameraman too because you can't have an experiment without
Exactly. Yeah.
recording it.
Somebody else has to monitor the situation I'm causing. Look, you are going to be up there.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah, true, but also I think you could just like magnetically do that. Just like, put a little magnet on there, somewhere, like, GoPro that shit and just like, do your thing. Like, hey guys, today, entry number 1, attempt 1. We've been up here for 6-7 hours. I feel like I've acclimatized. We're gonna start the first session. Wish me luck. Like,
Work some
everybody's
ground,
gonna
man.
look at you like, what the fuck? I didn't think I didn't think we could do that. We're gonna need space curtains or something. Like that's damn, you know?
Space curtains. No,
It's
just get some eye masks and some noise canceling headphones, and everybody makes an agreement. You good?
Exactly. Yeah.
Space curtains.
If you guys
Listen, in
want to
prison,
if
the
you guys
rule
want to
is you have
watch
to face the
science,
wall.
like if you guys have the strength of character or like the rather messed up drive for understanding esoteric knowledge, you can watch Mugun. But for those of you who are vulnerable to that type of intelligence or to that type of intel rather, we have like these amazing curtains and noise canceling headphones that
You
you're gonna have
know,
to use for the next 5 hours.
I'm just thinking of a guy, right? He's like missed this space, and he sees OpenAI files, and he's like, "Oh, this is amazing," and can find out about it, and he accidentally skips, like accidentally presses and goes forward too quickly, and then he just ends up.
Like you end up like
Wait, I thought this was about the OpenAI.
you end up just like
Did I go
talking
to a
about
different
space
place?
Goonies. Like, how the fuck did we get here? Somebody were in like these two schizo bitches and like fucking bitcoins, and then we ended up at like space gooning and painting. Like, this is an amazing crossover.
Conversation in a nutshell.
Really is.
Listen,
This is what we
and
like
what's
save
even
up throughout the week. Like really, this is like just this like retention. You know, we're like saving up as like the best for the week, and we just like release it all out there into the world. And that's like what this is. That's what the space is. I feel like I have like withdrawal from spaces if I don't attend it at least like once a week. This is like the way that I dump all of the humor and all the crazy stuff. Unless of course I happen to be inside of a work call and I find out I create a very creative metaphor for the thing that you're supposed to do, and everybody's like, how what the fuck is even that? Laura Cat is laughing. He knows. He can confirm. He's seen a lot of it. Me in an office space is a great experience.
the entire country of Iran is on fire, and we spent 20 seconds on it, but we spent 20 minutes on space gooning.
Hey, that's
Based.
more important to me, man. And I feel like the entire country of
Based.
Iran's not going to be on fire. It's just going to be the IRGC whose asses are just like being, eliminated. Which, by the way, most of the Iranian people who have a brain are actually in favor for, which is ironically enough the majority of the people there. So if you know any Iranians who aren't leftists, who are deranged and on the internet, and who don't even live in Iran half the time, those people will tell you, yes, please get rid of these unelected rulers who have, taken over the country and destroyed our flag. As they say, the lion rises again. That used to be on the flag, by the way. They used to have a little lion on it before the Islamic regime kind of took over and destroyed everything. But yeah, history. Those who know it, those who know it. I'm one of those.
One of those many people.
Rather one of the few, It's funny how much I know about like different countries that I'm not in, to the point that like sometimes even know more than the people who are from those countries about what that country is. Because like if you need to have any type of assessment or like understanding about what geopolitics actually is, you need to know like what the actual history is before you start having any opinion, or like any assessment whatsoever, because your assessment is going to be false and skewed by some sort of modern, you know, context that may or may not be true. So,
Yeah,
like that's very important.
every single time I see a conversation from anyone online about anything relating to the Middle East, I'm always disappointed because everyone's just acting like a retard. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Absolutely. Even like even with American history as well. Like we recently had a conversation. I had that on my alt account, and I was asking people the basics of like the foundation of what their culture is because they wanted to talk about culture, and they couldn't fucking answer the questions. Like the basic fucking shit, the basics they couldn't answer. I bet you right now, if you went to all those nationalists and gave them like a fucking civics test, they'd only get like 4 out of 10, like maximum. They'd have like the outlier that maybe does 6, maybe. Like we're being conservative here. Ironically, if we're being conservative here with like your maybe 6 out of 10, because half of them can't even fucking read. Which is wild. Like, imagine those guys want to talk about eugenics, but you literally can't even read. I'm like, I don't even know what you like. You're just a personified version of irony. It's like you want to talk about all those things, but I'm like, all those things are literally going to eliminate you if you were to implement them. You know that, right? Like, I'm sitting there like, damn, bro, what are you talking about? It's hilarious.
Days for Palestine.
Yeah, it's so bullshit. Yeah, it's all just bullshit. All bullshit. We need to focus on building empires. Like, people call me all kinds of things. They call me this, they call me that. I'm like, I'm an imperialist. And what I mean with that is building my own empire and looking after my people. That's it. You don't need a nation for this. You need a covenant. Everybody has to have you got a covenant max. You understand? Like the way you survive in the future is you got a covenant max. You got to have like this network of people that you trust, this network of people that love you and that you love them. And it's like this greater expansion that like exists past like it's just like it's even truer than a family in some ways because you've got a covenant max, right? Because there's the original version is like that the blood of the covenant runs thicker than the water of the womb, right? And that is very much so true. Because you're not forced to be together. You came together based on a mission. You've been through some shit together. You've done things, and you've helped each other out. And now you're part of the collective. You're part of the actual whole.
Yeah, you would not believe how many people have destroyed their own lives and destroyed other people's lives through this fucking family bullshit where they're like, someone in your family fucks you over and you have to forgive them because they're family. It's just like
Yeah.
a complete like degradation of what it means to be a family.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not loyalty,
Being a
it's
family,
retardation.
being a family doesn't mean rape me constantly and I have to forgive you every fucking time. The blood is worthless if you're someone like that.
Exactly. You gotta be like bound by honor. By the way, speaking of, I made that post about situating the monitor. Look. I'm situating the monitor.
Oh, there you are. Yep. Indeed, holding it up.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pre-mining some Halo experiments, and we're gonna eventually do streaming again. Because with my computer, it's just streaming becomes like a low quality experience. It's not worth your time. So I'm gonna get a better computer, then we'll be able to stream and do everything and do some amazing things. I already got the monitor, already got a lot of cool things set up. I just need this last thing. The monitor I have is really good, by the way. It's an Asus. Outa picked it out for me. The thing has 488. Sorry, I think just 480. I think it's just 480, 479 actually, roughly about. That is like goes up to precisely. Refresh rate. The average monitor's refresh rate by
Insane.
comparison, by the way, is 60 frames.
By the way, it's
60
not.
hertz.
By the way,
Okay.
that's not the only thing that's important. You also need to look at the response rate. Like if it's like
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's a really good response rate.
yeah, it's good response rate and it's like a lot of hertz.
Mm-hmm. I already pre-mined the keyboard. Like I got a nice
Yeah.
keyboard from New Zealand that was also from Asus, by the way. So I have a really cool Asus keyboard that's like wired into my computer. So it's like
Yeah, I
absolute max
basically
performance.
yeah, I made his own entire like computer setup.
Excluding the keyboard, of course. I got that one ahead of time already. Yeah. But my computer setup, the actual stuff, like the cards and all that kind of shit, that's like all him, including the monitor, which I'm really happy with. The monitor is pretty good. It has like lower pixels, but that's fine because like I don't need the massive HD thing anyways. But
yeah, it depends on what size you're at. I think for your size of because like it makes no like I never understood those 4K phones because it's completely fucking worthless. Your eyes can't see them anyway, right? You need to look at like the size of the screen first, and then you can decide, what density is required.
Yeah, exactly.
And for yours, you really don't need more than 1440p.
Yeah, and it also would just like mess with the it would also just like mess with the computer hardware.
Yeah,
and actually, as a matter of fact, the
worse
way
performance with 4K. You don't see any difference. You don't see if you were playing on like a giant TV, right? Then I would say, okay, let's get 4K, right? But like
even then, that's like the worst thing to do because it's gonna suck so much compute. Like it's gonna suck the compute so much. It's bad. Like it's just not gonna work. That's actually funnily enough because my graphics card is like a 3070, right? And so what I have to do is I have to window the game and then just like kind of compress it a little bit so that there's less stuff that needs to be rendered. So I'm playing at relatively low resolution so that the refresh rate is pretty good.
That's the one you have now. That's not
exactly. Yeah. Once I get a better setup, then it's completely different. I'm gonna get like the 50. I'm gonna get the 50 series.
5090.
Yeah, I got the 5090, so it's gonna be giga good. We also got like a nice little CPU as well. I think we got like an AMD or something, was it?
I think yeah, we got AMD.
Yeah, we got an AMD, yeah.
Yeah, it's an AMD. I'm looking at it right now.
He's got my computer set
Ryzen
up. He's good into it.
9000 series. Yeah, I've been gooning to this PC that I would love to build, but it doesn't belong to me. So it's gonna be shipped to Adrian sometime in the very near future.
Yes, along with like some of the merch as well that we're gonna put in there, so I can
Oh
like.
yeah, and the merch arrived today, by the way. So
Nice,
everything
nice.
is
How many pairs
headed
of that do
out
we have again?
soon.
Yeah.
How many pairs of that do we have again? I think
What?
like how much of that merch is like one of each thing, or like
So
what did we?
I've got 2 shirts and 2 mugs right now.
Epic.
If you want, I could order some hats. If you want me to add hats to it, they weren't in the shop at the time that I placed the order.
Oh yeah, we can get like
But
2
just
hats. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll add 2 hats then.
Right. Did we get like the what shirts are those? Are the white or the black?
They're black, I believe.
Right.
Like,
I
if you can add some UB
don't.
keys to the box, that would be great.
Right, yeah, I would need a UBQ also.
Get a few, not just one.
Yes. Yeah, a few UB keys would be based. That would be pretty good. So yeah, I can upgrade the security setup a decent amount. And that additional mug and additional shirt I have, I'm gonna give that to somebody. They're gonna really love it. You know. Yeah, what am I seeing? Mhm. Oh damn. All right. Got some stuff that's happening here. Yeah. But no, this was a fun space. Great. We like started on a bit of a serious note and then kind of went back to the more humorous thing that is the meme of the conversation effectively. So yeah, I like this weekly setup. It's a lot better. We used to do daily, and it took out so much. I feel like at the time it was necessary for it to be daily, because it, it's kind of the work that you put in, and now we just do the curation thing, and we condense it into the weekly experience. And we also are recording it so people can listen back to this, as was pointed out, and then people are going to listen to the whole thing and are going to see this immediate shift afterwards towards like this very interesting content. So yeah. No, this is great. Thank you all for joining, by the way. If you'd like to share the space with other people so that they can listen to this as well, like radio, then yeah, make sure to do that. If you'd like to support what it is that we're doing, you can subscribe to me, send me a tip, and or go to the Time Chain shop and buy some merch, some of our merch. We have some amazing merch, some of the stuff that's like conversation show memorabilia that's related. Make sure also to follow that account. Let me find the store thing. All right, there we go. I pinned it up at the top so you guys can go check that out. Make sure to follow that account also because we occasionally are dropping some updates from that. So yeah, pretty cool. It's also a nice org account. I really enjoy that we like made something cool out of that. So yeah, really leading by example, because if we're gonna have to like offer a service where we tell people like how to do things on X.com, we have to at least speak from experience. And I already have a lot of experience, but this is like the first org account that I'm actually running myself a lot, and I think it's going pretty well. And it's fun. It's hilarious to like play around with. So yeah, especially with my alt being the Timeless Martian, which is just fucking great. Like when I post some out of pockets like memes for the obsessed man and woman, for like if you know the alt and it's there. That's the one that I posted that clip from, the defense. If you can scroll back a little bit, let me see if I can find it somewhere. Yeah, that's the one. It's like the alt account. I wonder how long it's gonna take for that thing to get to like 10K. Yeah, that one. So I post crazy shit on there sometimes just for the funnies. That I don't usually like post on the mains. It's like exclusive behind the scenes content. You could call it that. And sometimes I occasionally join spaces on the alt and have fun with that. So yeah, you'd never miss out on a thing. Also, make sure to follow the people on stage as well. Many of these actually run shows. It's like community shows, as I like to call them. So that's pretty cool. Like alternate Adrian, he runs his own space, which is pretty nice, and that keeps the community entertained in my absence. So if you want a bit of like a much more casual experience than the much more serious and organized tone that we have here, and I guess it's like a thing you can go to if you crave that. But yeah, the personalities that you get in the weekly experience is still going to be the weekly experience because quite a lot of us are very busy now and we have a lot of work to do. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I think I'll end it here. This is great. Thanks for joining, Moondoggy. That was hilarious. It's great to have you here. Introduce you to the whole spaces thing from my end.
It was great. Thank you so much.
Well, awesome to have you.
One of the best spaces I've been on.
Thank you.
I listen a lot, but even so, listening or even speaking is one of the best.
Thank you. It means a
Good
lot.
stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you. All right. We're gonna rug it here. I'm gonna go play some Halo. At least to get to do it for one day of the week. Yeah. See you guys on the timeline and kind of set reminders next week. Let me see if I can schedule a space up ahead already, so I can put it in the reply so people can set reminders for that. Give me a second. Do you got anything else, Laura Cat? Suraj, maybe Lies?
Yeah, Chadman also
Sub to
does some
Adrian.
spaces all the time, so really good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nothing else from me. Just want everybody to have a great weekend.
Epic. All right, let me add the topics. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. Then we do the scheduling thing for and that's going to be next week. Boom. Get the minutes correct. 0. Nice. All right.
Hey Moon, I'm gonna use your art in my memes.
Okay, let's find the reply. All right, there we go. I think I'm gonna put it. Did I? Yeah. Right, it's sending. It's gonna take like 5 seconds because I have a timer on the Android, because like pre-scheduling on the Android works pretty well. So I do that there, and yeah. So if people are wondering why that's the case, so you got to be a multi-phone user if you wanted to, make it on Spaces. Not gonna lie, we used to have like this thing where I did a 50-hour space once, I think, and that was exhausting. We did that during the crossover of the OpenAI coup and the first, or was it the second? I think it was the second Starship launch.
Second.
Was the
Yeah.
second Starship launch. We covered the whole thing through all of that, and it was absolutely insane. We had multiple heavyweights join in as well. We literally had like fucking Sam Altman himself listening. It was fucking hilarious. That was the absolute crossover and completely killed the whole AI Spaces industry, because I just literally looked at it, absorbed all of it, and gave everybody what people were selling away for free. It's like, there you go. Here's how the system actually works, and you don't have to pay me $25 for it. Like, bro, it's free knowledge. Know how to prompt a database. It's not fair. All right, there you go. I've put it in the replies so you can set reminders for that next week. There you go. Pinned it up at the top. Make sure to set reminders. So yeah, I'll rug it here. Thank you all for joining, and for those of you who are listening, re-listening to the whole conversation, every single one of them is recorded, and we'll have one again next week, same time, same place. Who knows what the topics are going to be? It kind of evolves over time. Largely, we kind of use this as a means to cover the OpenAI files, which I believe not many other people covered, because they're not willing to read through all of that. But Suraj did a tremendous good job. He did a tremendous good job covering that. So
Amazing.
yeah, we'll likely do more tech analysis things in the future as well. So make sure to follow us for that and turn notifications on for whenever any of us are active and online. Thank you all for coming. See you guys next week and on the timeline.
Good night.